You ever get a message so arrogant, so jaw-droppingly smug, you have to read it twice just to confirm someone actually typed those words to you? Yeah, that was me at 4 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon, staring at my phone like, surely he didn't just, oh wait, he did. I took over the reservation. My CEO deserves the table. Your dad belongs at a pub anyway, he'd be more comfortable there. Read it once, read it twice. No shaking hands, no racing heartbeat. Just that weird, awful stillness, when the last shred of naive hope dies quietly in your chest. That was the exact moment my marriage expired timestamped by one text message. But before we get to that dinner, the confession, the chaos, and the chef in crisp whites walking out like an avenging angel, let me rewind a little. Because oh boy, the breadcrumbs leading there? They're seasoned with entitlement, insecurity, and $12,000 worth of Italian tile. My dad, Brian, has hands that tell an entire autobiography grease ingrained in the fingerprints. Fingernails that no expensive manicure could disguise. 40 years twisting wrenches, fixing gearboxes, resuscitating tired engines. When I was little, I thought he could bring anything back to life: cars, toasters, maybe even broken days. He raised me alone after Mom packed up and left. Double shifts, burnt toast dinners, new shoes only when absolutely necessary. He never complained once. Just wiped his hands on that oil-stained rag and said, "We're all right, kiddo." He smelled like motor oil and peppermint chewing gum. To me, that was what love smelled like. He ironed his jeans, for crying out loud. He lease-hopped luxury cars like other people swap phones, all for the image, the front row parrot gang, look at me, world illusion. I once thought he was ambitious. Turns out he was just terrified of average. Whenever Dad visited, Logan would plaster on that polite, tight smile, the kind that says I'm tolerating this for appearances. I could feel it, the judgment rolling off him every time Dad laughed too loud or mispronounced charcuterie. Dad represented everything Logan most feared. The ordinary, the unpolished, the invisible. Now, here's the thing. Logan worshipped a restaurant. Not a religion, a steakhouse. The Ocean Guild, a temple of mahogany and overpriced beef sitting on the Boston waterfront. You couldn't just book a table, oh no, mere mortals waited 6 months. But power suits? They glided right in. That restaurant was his personal Mount Everest. He checked their Instagram like it was a stock portfolio. When Dad's 65th birthday rolled around, I wanted something special, something he'd never splurge on himself. A dinner overlooking the harbor. A fancy meal where my blue-collar hero could finally be treated like royalty. So I made it happen. Don't ask how, let's just say family favors run deep and sometimes quietly powerful. Reservation, 4 seats, Saturday, 7 p.m., prime window spot. When I told Logan, I swear his pupils turned into dollar signs. He didn't see a gift. He saw leverage. We were living in the guest house behind his parents' estate at the time. Sounds generous, right? Free rent, everyone said. Ha, for you, my left shoe. In reality, I was the household wallet in a skirt, a running tab disguised as gratitude. A grocery trip here, and oh sweetie, could you cover the utilities? There. Slowly, almost beautifully in its deceit, the scales tipped. Then, one evening, Logan swaggered in with contractor quotes like he was revealing treasure maps. Mom wants to redo the guest house ensuite, he said. Heated floors, imported tile, rainfall shower, gorgeous. Price tag, 12 grand, I blinked. That's nice for them, he laughed sharp and mean. No, we're paying. Or rather, you are. My bonus isn't here yet. He delivered it like he was explaining the concept of gratitude to a toddler. Think of it as an investment, he said. My parents have done so much for you, looking past your background. There it was again, the unspoken hierarchy. The invisible chain clicking another link tighter. See, when you grow up pinching pennies, part of you believes you must constantly earn stability, the kind that others take for granted. Logan smelled that weakness miles away. He fed it, nurtured it, dressed it in silk, and called it love. I wrote the check. He didn't even thank me. Just took it and whistled his way out the door. Fast forward to the week of Dad's big day. Logan's boss, a CEO, so intimidating his LinkedIn profile could give you anxiety, was visiting. Logan was desperate for one thing, a gilded table. But guess what? Booked solid. He called, begged, bribed, refreshed apps like a man possessed. Nothing. Then he saw my confirmation email. You've got a reservation, don't you? For Dad, I said. Cancel it. Transfer it? No. He tried to guilt, to threaten, to bribe again. I refused. He threw that awful line that still echoes. Your dad will embarrass me. He belongs in a diner, not a place like that. Lovely, right? I locked our bedroom door that night, clinging to principle like it was a life raft. But I underestimated how low desperation can crawl. While I showered next morning, he accessed my phone, forwarded the confirmation, called the restaurant pretending to be me, and changed the name. By the time his text arrived that afternoon, it was already done. He honestly believed he'd won. Saturday came draped in cool mist. I drove to pick up Dad. He stepped out wearing his old charcoal suit, the one from Mum's funeral, polished shoes, shiny with effort. He looked nervous, proud, heartbreakingly sweet. Are you sure, kiddo? This place looks pricey. We can hit a burger joint instead. Not tonight, I told him. Tonight you feast like a king. We reached the restaurant. Marble floors, gold detailing, chandeliers that could bankrupt you if they fell. The Mater D looked up, perfectly neutral. Reservation for Brianna, I said. He frowned at the screen. It seems your party's already seated table 4 by the window. Ah, of course they were. We walked in and there they sat. Logan, flanked by his CEO, with his parents sipping wine like professional parasites. Logan's face when he saw us? Priceless. He shot up, intercepting me halfway like a human security barrier. Why are you here? He hissed. To eat. Funny thing, it's my booking you hijacked. Keep your voice down. You're making a scene. Take your dad somewhere suitable. He actually glanced at Dad's suit when he said suitable. The humiliation seared. Dad's shoulders curled inward. That's when that quiet, eerie calm flooded me again. I tilted my head slightly in unspoken cue. The kitchen door swung open. Out walked my brother, Chris. Yeah, the same cook I casually never elaborated on. Except he wasn't just cooking, he was executive chef and co-owner of the Gilded. His whites glowed under the chandeliers. The entire staff paused when they saw him. Chris strode right past Logan without a blink and enveloped Dad in a big, unapologetic hug. Happy birthday, Pops. The gasp that rippled through the room could have shaken the wine glasses. Then my brother turned slowly, theatrically, chef knife, sharp stare landing squarely on Logan. Interesting choice of seats, he said coolly. You're parked at my father's table. Silence, utter silence. Even the pianist missed a note. Mr. Sterling, the CEO, shifted in his chair, eyebrows arched high enough to breach atmosphere. Logan's survival instincts kicked in. Awkward fake laugh, sweat on his temple. Oh, Chris, mate. Total surprise, you didn't tell me you were working tonight. He looked to me for backup eyes, pleading play along. Bless his heart. I didn't. Chris nearly signaled a server who appeared with a silver tray and a printed sheet. No food. Just numbers. Italian tile $4,000, heated flooring, $3,000, vanity and fittings $2,500, miscellaneous gratitude bills another $2,500, $12,000 total, paid from my sister's account for a property she doesn't own. Each line hit like a hammer, Logan's mom gasped. His dad pretended to examine the table linen. Logan's complexion shifted from executive tan to cauliflower. The CEO glanced at the sheet, lips curling. You could see the exact second respect drained away. You treat my company like this too, Logan? He said quietly. Panic, rage, blaming, you name it, Logan cycled through it. She set me up. She hid this from me, she lied. Chris crossed his arms. Funny, hiding requires someone to listen first. The CEO rose slow, deliberate. Buttoned his jacket like punctuation. Logan, he said. Sit down before you humiliate yourself further. But sir, sit down. The man folded like a cheap DECKCHAIR. Mr. Sterling turned to me. I owe you and your family an apology, Miss Hayes, he said, voice crisp. Logan, don't come in Monday. HR will be in touch. If quiet satisfaction had a sound, it'd be the tiny clink as he set down his wine glass and walked out. Logan looked as if the earth had tilted. His parents froze, waiting like I'd swoop in, apologize, mend walls, pay the bill, resume the old pattern. Not today. I slipped off my wedding band, simple, modest, a promise long since broken, and placed it on the tray atop the itemized total. Consider that 12 grand your severance package, I said softly. I'm taking back the only asset that actually matters me. He reached for my hand, voice cracked. Bree, don't do this. We can fix it. You were never under pressure, Logan, just delusions of grandeur. And for the first time since marrying him, I felt absolutely nothing. Dad and I followed Chris through the kitchen doors, stepping out of the cold glitter and into warmth, the rhythm of clanging pans, laughter, garlic, and rosemary filling the air. His private chef's table waited, laid out with candles and love. We ate steaks that melted like forgiveness. Dad told shop stories, Chris teased him about retirement, and every laugh sounded like freedom. Back in the dining room, somewhere beyond those swinging doors, Logan sat alone at the table he stole, maybe realizing there are some debts you can't expense away. People assume poverty means an empty bank account. But there's another kind, the one that rots inside the soul. Logan owned designer suits, but was morally overdrawn. Dad wore secondhand wool and had wealth that no money could measure: kindness, grit, pride, and honest work. I used to beg for a seat at someone else's table. Turns out I was always building my own, and the view from here? Spectacular. If you've ever had to cut off the person who keeps shrinking your worth just to fit their ego, remember, you're not heartless, you're healing. Share this story with every woman who's ever been told she's lucky someone put up with her. You, my love, are the prize. Hit that subscribe button and join us here at Revenge Diary, where we turn heartbreak into empowerment and silence into story. Because sometimes the sweetest revenge isn't shouting. It's dining well at your own table.